Hello guys, so hairstyle plus hair color. Today we're gonna talk about theatrical romantic. If you're new to my channel, I have a huge Kibbe body types playlist. I'm gonna leave the link down below. Another video that you might wanna watch is this one. Haircut, hair texture, hair color, and how they interact with each other. Because not every haircut looks good with every hair color. So this video today is gonna be part 2 from that video. Okay, so let's see what Kibbe says about hairstyles for theatrical romantic first. Hair should always be soft and stylized, never sleek, severe, or uncared for. If you keep your hair long, it will definitely require an ornate set. You'll work best with a softly teased style. Just be sure it never looks stiff. And as far as this book was written in the 80s, they were teasing their hair much more than today, because they used perm. If your hair is short, you might opt for a wave or perm to strive for 1930s marceled look, which is quite glamorous on you. Marceling is a hairstyling technique in which hot curling tongs are used to induce a curl into the hair, and it's possible that it was invented by Marcel Gratteau. An asymmetrical cut is possible if it includes cascading curls or waves. In another part of the book, there is another text about hair. Hair should be lavish and ornate, adding the extra special touch of stylization to your image identity. The shape should be rounded, soft, and as full as possible. Waves, perms, sets, teasing, and the like are all potential pluses for you. Again, remember, this book is from the 80s. We don't use perm that much anymore. Just remember to keep the hair soft and never stiff. If your hair is long, it should be elaborate and voluminous in a very well cared for manner. If your hair is on the short side, it should look super stylized and coiffed. The cut will require some layering for curve. You might not look as good with severe styles, geometric cuts, blunt-edged cuts, overly layered hair, wash and wear styles. Now let's see what Kibbe says about hair colors for this time. If you want to color your hair, choose shades that are rich and vibrant. You are striving for a glamorous hair color, which means intense. Browns are rich, reds are fiery, blondes are bright, and black is jet. As you gray, you will probably want to cover it, although dramatic silver streaks can be quite theatrical if you are lucky enough to have inherited them. And again, I'm reminding you this book was written in the 80s, and at that time, people normally were covering their gray with hair color. You might not look as good with overly pale colors, except platinum, highlights that are meant to soften their color. Soft equals tired in this case. Salt and pepper hair unless the base color is very dark and the streaks are silvery white. Now let's see some celebrities examples. So first let's talk about Selena Gomez. She has quite bright coloration, she has very dark eyes and dark hair, and quite light skin. There were times when she tried to soften her hair color with that balayage, which I think it's not bad on her, but still to me it's slightly washing out her contrast. But I love the hairstyle. It's full, it's wavy, it's thick looking and very healthy. Here she has even lighter balayage. Maybe she has some kind of a filter as well. So these streaks of color are more visible and more bright. Maybe in real life it would soften her a little bit too much, but I like it on that picture and I like that it's quite contrasted looking. Here she has this blonde and it's quite bright. It's very contrasted, especially with her eyes. She has dark roots, which is great for me. Because of these dark roots, her eyes are not empty looking and her hair doesn't look like a wig. So I can say in general I like it. I just think she didn't stick to this hair color in her real life, unless it's a wig of course, but I just don't think it's a wig. It's quite hard to maintain and especially to bleach it so many tones up because her natural hair color is still very, very dark. Because still nothing can beat healthy hair. I like this hairstyle on her as well. It's not too tousled. And as far as it's not layered, it still looks full. Here, I like it too. I like that the blonde itself is not brassy or beige looking. It's still quite contrasted with her eyes. I love the dark roots. I love the hairstyle. If that would be more blunt, it would probably not be that elegant as this hairstyle. It's slightly elongated at the front. It looks asymmetrical and quite soft because she has these front pieces shorter. Also, I think she's quite cool in coloration, so this cool tone of her hair really fits to her, as opposed to this one. So we can see here she has this balayage with this slightly brassy, maybe it's even orange ends. I love the hairstyle here. I think the hair color is a little bit too warm for her and it's blending her features slightly. Here she has this yellowish brassy hair. It's not very brassy, but it's quite close. But the fact that she has dark roots also is saving the situation, and I like that it's straight hair, it looks quite full and not overly layered. This is same hair color, but just different hairstyle. I love that it's slightly curled on the bottom. It looks quite soft, rounded, and full at the same time. And if you talk about hair color, I still think that any attempt to go lighter equals diluting the contrast for her. She's just naturally too contrasted for that softness. Here, I love this hair color. It's amazing. I think it's her natural hair color. And I like this hairstyle, even though it's slightly shaggy ends, not curled, it's straight, but I like it. Also, great curtain bangs and amazing, slightly back-combed volume on top. And I love this hairstyle too. Amazing makeup, amazing hair color. These waves are slightly relaxed, but they are very structured. So it's very simple, classic, but glamorous look. Now let's talk about Salma Hayek. She also is very contrasted. Her natural hair color is quite dark, her eyes are very dark, and her skin is different. Sometimes it's darker, sometimes it's quite light. I think she's more warm than cool though. I love this look very much. This hair is amazing, both hairstyle and hair color. I think this is one of the signature looks for her and for theatrical romantics. Here she has this sleek, beautiful hair. And even though David Kibbe doesn't recommend sleek hair on theatrical romantics, I think it depends. So in this particular case, I love it on her. I think she looks absolutely stunning and very elegant and expensive. It actually doesn't look too sleek with the shape of her head. It's beautiful, healthy, shining, and the hair color is amazing. This is probably a wig, and I like it on her very much. I think she looks stunning with this hairstyle, and she looks great with this hair color. Yeah, we can see that this hair color doesn't belong to her, but still, if she chooses the correct style, I think she can pull that off. However, this color is quite theatrical. Now look at this. In my viewpoint, it looks amazing on her. Of course, I understand that in real life, she probably would not go for that color all the time. She has very dark hair naturally, so just to maintain that kind of platinum blonde can be quite damaging for the hair. But I think for different kinds of parties, theatrical romantics would look amazing with these different kinds of unusual hair colors and beautiful hairstyles like this. This hairstyle is quite classic and quite ornate. I love this look on her as well. I don't think that these brown ends are light enough to call it lightening effect. I think these brown ends are as intense as her black roots. And you can see immediately how her eyes are absolutely same color as these brown ends. So it creates this harmony. The hairstyle is also stunning. Now this is probably a wig, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's bad on her because it's quite platinum. It has this very light buttery color, which actually looks quite glamorous. And I love the hairstyle too. Of course, we need to see how she would look with that color. In everyday life, it might be not enough to support her contrast, and she might feel like she needs a little bit more makeup than usual. I think this experiment, especially with this hairstyle, also is great on her. As far as she's theatrical romantic, not just romantic, she can pull off these theatrical accents in her look. But of course, not everybody would go for those blue ends in real life. So I think that was just for a movie or just an experiment. Now let's talk about Mila Kunis. Her natural hair color is brown, her eyes are hazel, her skin is slightly olive and quite light. Of course, I think she looks amazing with her natural hair color. It's quite intense. If she goes 1 or 2 shades darker than her natural color, still not extremely black, but just a little bit darker, it would be intense enough to support her beauty and her natural contrast. This is also very beautiful. I'm not sure if it's her natural hair color or she darkened it, but it looks very beautiful for me. I like the hairstyle too. It's quite relaxed, but it's not too tousled at the same time. These waves are chunky, which is great for them. Here's a good example when they try to soften their hair color. And it's not theatrical, it's not platinum still. The tone of this hair is quite close to her skin, actually. Also, it looks slightly brassy. It looks like in between blonde and brown. It's not that I don't like it, I just think that this is why she has this blush on her cheeks, which is quite unusual for her. With this effect, they can feel like they absolutely washed out. Also, every woman who has slightly olive undertone in her skin looks a little bit more green with brassy tones in her hair. So this is the effect that that brassiness creates on their skin. skin. This is probably one of the reasons why she put that pink blush on, just to fight that green tones in her skin that popped up more after this hair color. And this platinum is better in my viewpoint. Probably she's wearing a wig here, but I think it's still fit into her. I just think it's not her style, not her personal vibe. I just think she looks her best when she's in her own hair color. Now let's talk about Jada Pinkett Smith. Her natural hair color, I assume very dark brown and close to black. Her eyes are very beautiful, rich brown color. Her skin has that golden undertone. So I think she's quite contrasted and warm. And I like this balayage on the right because I think it's still not light enough to wash out her contrast. It's quite rich, intense brown color, again, which speaks with her eyes. In terms of colors, it's similar to that Salma Hayek picture that I showed you just before. Here, I think she has her natural hair color, and I like it very much on her. And it's interesting because the hair color looks slightly cool here, and her eyes and skin are quite golden brown. Even though Kibbe said that they don't look as good with sleek hair, I think this is another case when sleek hair works. I also think for some reason in the 80s, sleek hair looked a little bit different. Nowadays, it kind of works for many outfits, works for many looks. So today, I would probably put more attention on the head shape, and if the person needs a little bit more volume on top or not. Now, this coloration, I still like it. It's quite bright streaks of color. It's not super light platinum. It's quite golden on the dark background of her natural brown hair. And I love the hairstyle, so I think everything works here. I think this is the hairstyle that is making her look a little bit more tired. First of all is the tone of the hair. It's not rich brown anymore, that speaks with her eyes. It's lighter than her eyes. But it's not platinum blonde as well, so it's not giving that freshness and contrast, that extreme contrast, artificial contrast that sometimes work for them. So in this case, I think it's just a little bit too in between. But it's good that it's streaks of color rather than that very soft overall color. And although normally theatrical romantics don't look very good with that short hair, I think this particular outline and softness of that hair works good on her. In my viewpoint, they look a little bit better with closed ears. This hairstyle, which is very interesting on her, I like it very much. You know, the tone of the hair is in between platinum and slightly strawberry, just a little bit. And then she has those very defined curls. It looks even slightly glamorous, that pixie. So if she had very ornate earrings, ornate necklace here, I think she would be ready to go to the red carpet. Oh wow, how beautiful she looks here. Her makeup is glowing. I think she looks amazing with this makeup. That is an amazing example how great theatrical romantics look with shimmer on their skin, on their eyes, on their lips, everywhere. They normally don't look tired or puffy. They just glowing. In terms of this hair, I like the color. It's very contrasted with her skin, with her eyes. It is theatrical bleached blonde that normally looks amazing on them. Yes, this is pixie. It's quite boyish haircut. I noticed sometimes they can pull that off because they have quite delicate facial features. Pixie, especially that short pixie, is quite delicate too. That's why it fits them sometimes to their head, to their overall proportions. It's normally not creating that disbalance. Sometimes though, it might not fit to their vibe and to their softness. Some of them are quite soft and they're too soft actually for that type of a hair. So normally theatrical romantics go for a little bit more feminine, more soft, more long hair. Also, I wanted to show you theatrical romantic with light coloration, light eyes, light skin, light hair. Donna Mills. She started acting in 1966. So her career lasted throughout the 70s and 80s, so we can see some examples. So these three hairstyles, Kibbe normally doesn't recommend to theatrical romantics. On the left, we can see this shaggy, overly layered grown pixie. Normally, it's just not their vibe at all. Not many people wear this hairstyle today, though. In the center, she has this tousled hairstyle. It's normally too wild for theatrical romantics. They need more glamorous, more ornate shapes. And on the right, there's a blunt cut. But as you can see, this is that 80s blunt cut. Today, normally you have slightly different blunt cuts. We style our bobs differently, so I think in this case, it depends. This particular styling of hair is very 80s. In the 80s, that was very popular to have this, as I call it, double fringe. So on the bottom, you would have this wispy rounded fringe, and then you would have a longer fringe, which we normally would back comb and make it kind of stand above our first fringe, which was quite signature for that decade. It still was a little bit popular in the 90s, but then it was out of style. Here, again, a little bit too wild for her delicate bone structure. Too untidy and not ornate enough. But that was 80s, of course. I like the color though, it's on the border between being a little bit too tiring on her. But still, it's quite bright blonde, so I like it here. Now, this hairstyle is already much better. You can see immediately how she becomes more and more herself. Now here, the hairstyle is beautiful, but I just wanted to show you the hair color. So normal theatrical romantics don't look as good with softly lightened hair. That normally is making them look quite tired, even though she is blonde by nature. If we make this picture black and white, you will see the depth of color of her eyes, her skin, and her hair is equal. So it's really blending their contrast a lot. Even if she had her hair here a little bit brighter, just a little bit, that would already do the trick and she would look amazing because we need freshness, we need a bit more contrast. And here's a great example of this. You can see how this platinum blonde looks stunning on her. She looks very healthy, fresh, and bright. And here she has gray hair, which is platinum white. It's cool color. It looks amazing on her. The hairstyle is just stunning. So this is a good example. And last but not least, Jane Seymour. I don't know what is her natural hair color. She has probably dark blonde, warm undertone hair. As far as she was very popular in the 70s, I just wanted to show you how she incorporated that natural 70s hippie boho style into her look. I think she looks absolutely stunning with this long straight hair. I think that suits her so much. And of course, as theatrical romantic, you also can go for any style that you want. It's just you should think about the delicacy of your bones and make sure things you're choosing are not extremely bulky and long and heavy, straight, or too severe. So every time you're going for something a little bit on a softer side and slightly more delicate and narrow, preferably with waist emphasis, you should be good. When she got slightly older, she was still keeping same hair color. Her hair color is slightly muted orange or red hair. Maybe it's a natural, maybe she's coloring it, I'm not sure. Still, I think that fits her very much. It fits her skin color. And now she would go for fringe. Normally her fringe is quite rounded, which fits to her, I think. And also her hair is still long, but sometimes she's wearing them straight or curly. Both, I think it's quite glamorous and beautiful on her. On one of the parties, she was kind of getting married with Freddie Mercury for fun, so we can see how stunning she looks with those long curls. They look quite delicate, quite weightless. The overall look is just absolutely stunning. Here she looks amazing with this ornate style. Her hair is slightly coiffed, slightly back-combed, and they're on the back. She has these two curls by her face, which give that lightness to her, and amazing makeup. And in the end, I just wanted to show you these two pictures. It's also nowadays. You can see how beautiful she looks with bangs and without bangs. I actually like her a little bit more without bangs. On the picture on the right, how beautiful that long asymmetrical bangs is lying on her face with those ornate waves. Alright, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that was interesting. See you very soon. Bye-bye.